Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream today. Uh, Pardon the sniffles, the allergies are still a problem. Probably gonna cough a little bit, sneeze some. I'll do what I can to keep that from being too much of a disruption, but you know. So, today we're going to be playing. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe just some classic Reno. Uh, I've been tooling around with this Reno Rogue, but it's not ready yet, I don't think. And then there's just Reno Dragons. I mean, right now that's probably not a bad deck. We'll find out, because I love this deck. Worst case scenario, we lose a couple, but we can always just rank back up if we need to. It's not like we've gotten that high in the season to begin with. So without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and hop on in, see what we can get as far as a matchup. Hopefully nothing too insane. Okay, Druid, probably combo, because we've been running into a lot of that lately.
I must protect the wild.
Your soul shall be mine.
I just despise this hand. We're going to keep the Hellfire just in case he's some sort of relatively aggressive strategy. It's never bad to have some sort of removal in your hand, so yeah. Alright. Starting off with some saplings. It's probably some sort of combo, but meantime we're just going to draw some cards, pass the turn some, see what he does. Alright. So he's off to a relatively quick start. He's ramping some. So he's definitely mid-range to, or some sort of combo, which is fairly mid-rangey. Next turn we might just coin out the Hellfire, depending on what he plays. Plus it keeps him off some of the larger plays with Darnassus Aspirant in play. And frankly, we don't want to get beat too far down too fast. We're already going pretty low. Well, 21, but relatively low under the circumstances. Especially seeing as Hellfire's dropping us to 18. We can't really afford another turn of that. We could taunt up, but then if he has... I don't hate it just because he's only on 4 mana. Unless he has double Innervate and a KT or something obscene like that, then we're probably better off getting the Guardian in play right now. So, yeah, go ahead and do that. See what he's got for us. We might end up taking a bit of a pummeling if he has a silence or a piece of removal, but there's only so much we can do about that. And it's basically a choice between getting a board presence and just Hellfiring. The upside to the board presence is higher if we don't die because of it, or if it doesn't cause us to lose too much. It's basically just down to what he has in hand, but it's probably the stronger line of play if the slightly higher potential downside. On the Azure Drake, we've definitely got the strict upside here. Hellfire does not kill the Drake off, but Hellfire plus Guardian empties the board. Puts him back down to just 5 mana again this turn, and his curve is probably thrown off a little bit. So we'll go ahead and do that. I mean, it's clearly less than ideal, but it gives us a blank slate right now. And gets him back off of extra mana. Plus, if he does have some sort of early KT play, we can't really afford for him to have 12 dudes on board. The Shade makes it a good time to just belch her up. Grab some control of the board for a minute. And hopefully prep for a Tharissian. Yeah. So especially with our opponent not doing much this turn, it's either a Tharisian or some sort of Shadow Flame. To be fair, Shadow Flame on Belcher might not be bad here, just because it does deal quickly with the Shades. On the other hand, if we drop Tharisian, we can Shadow Flame next turn, most likely, on an overall better hand. So it's probably worth it, even though, again, there's a little bit of downside, or potential for downside, just because it's the only turn we know we can really afford to run him out there. We can guarantee we can do it right now. And worst case scenario, if he has some sort of crazy play this turn, we're just going to end up facelessing something and shadow flaming something else. Okay, so Tharisian is at 1 health, but it's not dead yet. He's taking 5 to finish it. And we have access to either a Drake Shadow Flame, or we can Implosion the 2 toughness, or the 2 health, and Shadow Flame an Imp, which is a fairly reasonable line of play, if not great.
So many
We can also just run out Chill Maw
possibilities.
to most likely not die this turn, or to protect our board state, and potentially have Ysera next turn, which is probably the better play in the long run. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. There is no line of play that, with us having Ysera and Drake in hand, is not going to screw over his board state pretty bad.
Where shall I strike?
Yeah. Basically, the only option here would be some sort of silence to prevent getting crushed, at which point we'd be dead. But, yeah. Alright, so here we could Shadow Flame our Chill Maw, or we can punch his Taunt with Chill Maw and drop Ysera. The problem with that, of course, is that one of his dudes is getting out alive if we go for a line of play that involves Ysera this turn. Alternatively, we can Shadow Flame, Chill Maw, and Drake, which seems fairly suboptimal.
I wonder.
We could... I mean, it's just really hard not to Ysera when we've got a relatively clean board like this. I think we have to. Worst case scenario, we're taking 4 damage, or 5 damage next turn to one of his Shades. And we've got a Ysera in play. So unless he's got the silence into some form of direct damage, this line of play is super strong. We've got several high impact cards in hand, including a Siphon Soul faceless turn available to us.
What to do?
We could also... We also have Drake Shadow Flame available. He takes the wrong direction on that, killing off both of his dudes instead of just one. And now he has Force, Roar, but that's not enough for lethal, unless he has another Roar.
Time waits for no one.
I see us going to 1 here, which is severely problematic. But we have Jiraxis in hand. So we're just going to go ahead and drop Jiraxis, punch with Ysera, punch with Weapon. Hope he doesn't have another Force Roar in hand. And if not, we probably just take over the game from here. So next turn we have up to... what, 9, 12... Yeah, we don't have lethal next turn, especially with the Lotheb. But we can apparently go for an Emerald Drake Sun Fury turn, or a Twilight Drake, Emerald Drake, Sun Fury. That actually seems kind of good. So Twilight, Emerald, Sun Fury. And we're just going to go to the Dome right now because we've got about 1,000,000 points of taunt. And next turn we probably have lethal, especially with Nightmare in hand. I sincerely doubt he cleans up the entire board or creates enough taunt to get out of this alive. I assume he's looking for Iron Bark right now, because a Force Roar doesn't save him here. Very few things do with our actual hand, but I mean he's basically looking for Iron Bark. Right now we're at 10, 12, 16, 20 points available just next turn. Not counting Nightmare. Okay. So it's possible he has a swipe here. But a swipe doesn't save him.
Time waits for no one.
I mean, we're still at 10, 13. We've still got lethal directly on board. Unless he has another way to kill a dude. Okay. That's just what's on board. 12, we've got 6, 9, yeah, he's dead.
My seal for Arca.
That's all she wrote. And yeah, I mean, pretty much it. I just unlocked a Golden Boulder Fist Ogre. Woohoo. But meanwhile, let's kill some more stuff and hopefully rank up some. Obviously we could rank up faster playing aggro, but it gets kind of boring playing a linear deck on stream. There's nothing really to talk about, there's nothing really to do. You just make the obvious decision every turn and win or lose. And that's incredibly boring, so we're not going to do that. This Nefarian can go back. Shredder can stay. It's a perfectly reasonable early-ish dude. Belcher's also really good. The two pieces of removal are pretty obvious to keep.
I'll never tell.
So the Secret Keeper is most likely going to eat a Shadow Bolt at some point in the near future. And meanwhile, we'll just run out this Chow to incentivize some sort of trade rather than punching me in the face. Because I kind of like my face. It's not that attractive, but okay. So he's just going to the Dome either way. Dark Bomb is a really good draw here. We'll just go ahead and do that. Looks like it was Redemption. I don't want to coin out Coil here when I can just punch with this guy and save the Coil for a later turn. Like a Shredder next turn seems really good potentially. His start just got a lot less aggressive, so...
Reporting
Alright.
for duty.
There's no point in going anywhere near his face right now because he's just going to get healed. So we're just going to drop a Shredder, kill off a recruit, ship it back, and now he has to choose which of our dudes dies this turn unless he has things. Perfectly acceptable.
Let me think.
For some odd reason, my
Reporting for duty.
Innkeeper is not popping up. which is odd to say the least. We'll have to try and sort that in the near future. We'll go ahead and kill off a creeper, coil off a recruit. That's just because if he has quartermaster, we don't want him to pump recruits. And as much as I hate playing it without a dragon, I kind of want to just drop the technician here to have a warm body. So we're going to do that. Meanwhile, we're going to try and fix this. There we go. That seems to be working better now, so we'll go ahead and do that.
Don't worry, loves. The cavalry's here.
Horse Rider's a pain here. Something better than that, but whatever. At least he has to kill Flame Tongue. There's no way he can risk letting it stay alive. Which did at least buy us some time to Belcher up next turn and keep whittling down his board. So now we go ahead and taunt, kill off his 2-1, ship it back. Excuse me, I'm just all sorts of sniffly today.
Not on my watch.
That's a royal pain in the ass. But on the plus side, we at least have the bolt here, so we can kill that off. Unless he kills off our guy. On the other hand, we can silence and draw a card, which isn't completely trash. Just start working towards cards that do more things. Chillmaw, we approve of here. It's never bad against anybody who's aggressive. Sorry, just going to fix my webcam a little bit. Chillmaw is always good against anybody this aggressive, obviously. It just locks down the board so hard.
Put this apple on your head.
And especially when just their entire board is nothing but tiny, tiny dudes that just all die to Chillmaw. That's just glorious. Alright, so we're still at a respectable life total. 15 is not bad. Chillmaw will pretty much end all the aggression for the foreseeable future and give us time to hopefully get out something along the lines of Nefarian in a couple of turns. Or if we can top deck a Thaurissan, that'd be lovely. We love cheap cards. Yeah, so it looks like our opponent's just going to go ahead and trade his board into Chillmaw, which is going to detonate and do nothing, but whatever. We've got Guardian available for our next taunt.
Reporting for duty.
And yeah, I mean, Guardian's always good. We can draw a card here, means we're not overly concerned with our life total. Corruptor next turn gives us a reasonable lock on any more dudes he drops. Or on killing, well, we're going to siphon that next turn for some odd reason. Something to do with not wanting to die.
Reporting for duty.
So we could either, yeah, I mean, our only option is to Siphon Soul, Shadow Bolt, hope we don't die next turn, and try to get some sort of board position back.
Reporting for duty.
Thinking Nefarian might be the best play here just because it's the sort of high-end threat that he absolutely has to deal with right away. Corruptor gives us a good line of play too, just because it kills one of his recruits, which actually puts us out of range. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and double Drake. Run out the old double dragon. I guess I'm a little old.
I wield the power.
So we'll do that. kill off another of his guys, hope it's not a quartermaster, which would put us stupidly low, and probably just in range of dead. Creeper, on the other hand, we don't mind.
Reporting for duty.
We're still cleaning up the board. We are absolutely dropping Jaraxxus this turn just because we don't want to risk dying to whatever bullshit shenanigans. Kill off all 3 of his recruits because he does not need to have recruits. He just doesn't need them. He can't have them. We don't allow that. Now, at this point, he's mostly petered out as far as board pressure. It's probably either a get down or redemption. We don't really like either of those under the circumstances. But we're just going to have to find out which one it is. Not get down, so redemption? Yeah. Redemption. Which would be much more acceptable if we weren't so worried about dying at a moment's notice. And we're going to run out Tharisian, Ooze. We're actually going to kill off this spider here. And next turn we might faceless our Tharisian if we get the opportunity. I wouldn't mind seeing some sort of taunt, but if nothing else, we're going to faceless Tharisian, which is never bad. I mean, that's got to be, what, competitive spirit? Okay, we've got a Reno. That means the correct play is to clean up the board just in case it's competitive spirit. Tharisian, or faceless our Tharisian.
I wonder.
Or we could just go ahead and punch Reno,
Gonna be rich.
faceless Tharisian. Clean up the board. Ship it back and have a 4-mana Boob next turn and a 6-mana Nefarian. I feel like we're in an okay spot now. 6-mana Nefarian means the game is over. That's almost certainly competitive spirit, which we cannot allow him to trigger under any circumstances. But now we've got enough guys that that's not going to be an issue. We're just going to Shadow Flame off our Swamp Ooze so that we can get damage with everything else. We'll drop Nefarian, get some cards that do things. I mean, that Blessed Champion is probably just going to end the game next turn.
Victory is
Yeah, so that's that. Our opponent has realized that the game is completely over. And yeah, we're just going to keep going. It seems like things have gotten to a slightly slower point on the ladder at this point, which is good. We wanted a slower ladder so that we could actually try and progress a bit.
Gul'dan versus Malfurion.
I must protect the wild. Your soul shall be mine.
Alright, so this opener, we'll keep the Bolt just to deal with the Darnassus Aspirant that is liable to come out. Reno's always good to have early against the Druid because they can ramp into something absurd and start causing some minor problems. We're not likely to see a 1-mana play unless it's Living Roots. We don't really care about their 1-mana plays. Yeah, so there's Roots. actually a pretty good card. I mean, we just kind of expect it and accept it and let go and move on. It's just sort of a fact of life. Alright. So the fact that he didn't have an aspirant really cuts into our action for this turn. We don't have a crazy coin bolt turn. And our early draw has actually been kind of mediocre for dealing with a board like this, just because our opponent gets to keep punching us, whittling away at our early life. Granted, we have Reno in hand, but we don't want to drop Reno early. We don't want to curve into Reno. Alright, so here we don't actually hate a coined Drake. It doesn't need to be massive, it just needs to be enough to force him to do things.
Job's done.
And it beats getting punched some more. Now he's actually got to worry about the fact that I have a board presence. It puts me in the game. And that's more important than an extra 2 health on a Twilight Drake. Sure, he can absolutely vomit his hand at it and kill it off. But the simple fact is, he has to vomit a bunch of cards unless he has the silence, which just puts us in a reasonable place. The fact that he's still going to the dome should be a little bit concerning, but because of the Reno Jackson, we're just going to draw cards. We're not actually going to drop Protector, because it's entirely reasonable that he's sandbagging a card for dealing with our Drake. And we actually want him to be worried about us. He can't Force Roar yet, so if we can do a few early turns of damage and making him worry about what we're doing. Yeah. So now we've got a I mean, worst case scenario, we're just trading 2 cards for this, which I think we're doing. And then we're coiling this.
Job's done.
We shouldn't be dead yet, unless he has multiple Innervate, Force Roar. Like, sure, there's ways to die here. I get that, Druid. But you can't play around getting destroyed like that. I do expect him to have the combo in hand, which means we can't afford to be too slow about playing out this Reno. But given that we can chill Maw next turn, this might actually be a decent turn for it. Let's go ahead and kill off this Shredder and see what we get. Okay, so we don't mind dropping a Reno here, just to preserve our life total against potential Force Roar. Because combo there would be just a painful way to lose, since we're blatantly acknowledging what we're up against. Alright. He's got a 5/10, but we've got a silence. Obviously we can't Shadow Flame, but, or at least not to kill that. We could also Siphon it, which doesn't seem half terrible. Keeps him on the back foot. Yeah. So we're just going to Siphon here. Kill that Shrinkmeister because it's got enough power that we care that it exists. The next turn we can either Chill Maw or Tharisian. I don't hit a Tharisian here, since he's got the answer. He's got a Wrath. So Chill Maw is not bad with how much of his removal he's already burned through. I don't see him popping Chill Maw without
Elune, guide my life.
suffering as a result. Since we don't have our own Twilight, yeah. It's either that or we can Tharisian and Dark Bomb his Aspirant, which which I also don't completely hate, except for the part where we're not actually protecting our Thaurissan at that point. We can Shredder Shadow Flame to completely clean up the board and potentially have something useful of our own. I don't hate that, so that's what we're going to do. And Lightwell, okay. That's interesting. That can be a real pain for a combo deck, too, just because free health every turn, for us, if nothing else is damaged, is actually a good way to stay alive against them. So we can hope that that works out okay. Alright. So he's just reloading the board. We're at 30. And at this point, we drop Chillmaw, who he can't kill without cleaning up his own board. And we'll just draw a card, because unless he's able to kill Chillmaw and that Lightwell, we're getting more life back, which is sweet. Not entirely sure what my opponent's got planned next. Okay. So Swipe lets him keep one guy alive, which is problematic. But we can Dark Bomb it off. And Thaurissan. I'm surprised that he left the Lightwell alive, since it has the potential to keep us out of range. It didn't, but it can. Here, I don't hate the Thaurissan plus Dark Bomb. I don't think we end up dead that way. Especially since we could taunt if we wanted to. And I don't actually hate taunting up the Lightwell, just to protect Thaurissan for a turn, unless he wastes a Force of Nature on it. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Alright, boom. We're very glad that we did a thing. Although on the other hand, I'm not sure that we have a good out against Boom right now. Best case scenario, we kill Boom itself. We can always rend and Faceless. So yeah, let's do that. Let's rend his Boom. We can either Faceless or Healbot. I don't hate a Faceless on Thaurissan, then kill a couple of his dudes. So let's do that. As long as we don't die this turn, that was pretty good. As long as we don't die this turn, we're likely to be in a really good place at this point. Just a 6-mana Ysera is obscene. A 6-mana Nefarian is busted, especially against Druid, where 4 mana is exactly what you want to swipe them. A 2-mana Healbot is a no-brainer. Like, we just got this stupidly powerful hand. Next turn, we're probably just... I can't imagine a turn where I don't drop one of these 2 dragons and Healbot next turn. Unless I'm dead. The only exception would be if he Force Roars me just to get me somewhere close to lethal range, and I draw a Reno next turn. Then I would do something different. But it's going to take a lot. Excuse me. Jesus. But yeah, it's going to take a lot to keep me off of the line of play that involves a dragon and a Healbot. I don't know if my opponent actually has a plan at this point. His plan is probably suffer horribly, because, let's face it, that is not pretty. he doesn't even know what to do. So he's just not doing anything. He got reasonably lucky there. But even so, the fact that we're able to Ysera and Healbot and then draw a card, because let's draw a card. Hit him for 13. But still have one of our Tharisians in play. Tharisian Ysera. That's just nasty. I think we played that in the wrong order. Oops. Oh well, but next turn we could Drake Boom.
What to do?
We could Nefarian Drake. I mean, it feels like my opponent has basically just given up on life at this point and is doing just enough each turn to ensure that he doesn't rope out, and I have to actually kill him because he's kind of offended. But at this point, he's dead next turn, so I don't really give a shit. He has to actually do a damn thing, or who cares?
Time waits for no one.
Yeah. Our opponent has nothing, and he knows this. I mean, to be fair, we did sort of double Tharisian with Ysera in hand. Alright. So, for obvious reasons, before we kill him, since he's been a pain in our ass, we're going to see what Nefarian draws us.
Wild is mind control.
Nothing we care about, but it's always good to find out. And that's all she wrote. Another dead opponent. Today's shaping up fairly well so far. And we're going to take a quick break. I will be back shortly after getting some fresh cancer and something to drink to try and stop some of this coughing. And we're back. Let's see what we can do about killing some more people with some more dragons and hopefully some more faceless Tharisians behind taunts, because that's not completely fucking excessive and asshole-ish and hysterical to do. I mean, there's something satisfying about it. Let's be honest.
Gul'dan versus
6 mana
Gul'dan.
Ysera was classic.
Your soul shall be mine.
Alright, so as much as we want to Faceless Atharisian, this is a bad hand in a Warlock matchup. This is a worse hand in a Warlock matchup, but we tried. I assume he's aggro, because we're playing against him, and our luck is not good. Maybe not, but we're going to draw a card this turn. Head towards a Drake. If he doesn't drop something this turn, it's actually not a bad matchup. Potentially. Alright, so it's some other variant of Reno or Handlock, which makes our hand much stronger. And next turn, we're just going to go for the Giant. He could coin out a Drake this turn, but that would be an 8 health Drake, which is a bad matchup against our Giant in general. So I assume he just passes the turn back. If he taps, that's good for us. Otherwise, he's just coining out a thing. Alright, so it's still just Giant. Get the board presence established. Find out what our opponent's on. It's either going to be a Giant or a Drake this turn, most likely. If it's neither, then we're just putting him in a world of hurt. Implosion. Not where I expected him to be. So we lead on Belcher here. And start punching the hell out of him with our Giant that is now protected by a taunt. I mean, okay. So demons? That's impressive. Coil? Or something. Dark Bomb. Interesting. Alright. So, he's just spent the past 5 minutes cleaning up our board. We're going to Drake. Coil one of these off. Punch him with our Belcher. He's not a Reno list, so all we really care about is beating the hell out of him for a couple more turns, because he does not currently have a way to fuck us over with the Mal'Ganis play. So we just want to make him very dead very quickly.
Feed you to master.
Alright. Fugan was not what I was expecting to see here. I feel like the correct play is probably just siphoning his Fugan. We don't care that much about it, and he doesn't have a good play. On the other hand, we kind of want to save our siphon for a potential Mal'Ganis. But there is no other good way to kill off Fugan, and our board ends up getting wrecked. We could always Dark Bomb Drake. I guess that's our better play. Because that leaves us with a reasonably big Drake. We can drop our Azure Drake to a card. And he's got to be demons of some variety. So, yeah, we just can't let him get Mal'Ganis out there without having this Siphon still in our hand. That's the #1 goal. Alright, so he He's finally going to clean up this Belcher. I mean, the fact that it took until his turn 7, and we played it on our turn 5, is perfectly acceptable.
My shield for Argus!
Alright, so now he's just doing anything he can to stay alive. Okay. I kind of like just dropping the Technician into... Well, no, let's drop the Shredder into the Guardian. Kill off his taunt. And just keep pressure on the board. If he's some sort of demon lock, he has no way for Mal'Ganis to do more than just be a giant dude that makes him immune. He does have potential plays that involve double Molten at this point, but he can't double Molten and taunt until turn 10 at his current life total. And right now he's dead to... Okay, so it is Molten's. And I guess that does let him taunt.
Shields up.
Okay. So he does have ways to do that. We can siphon one, bolt and trade with the other. That costs all 9 mana, but it only costs us one dude, puts him down to 5. We can faceless one. I don't know. I don't completely hate just dropping Nefarian here and killing one of his giants so that he has... No, because then if he Shadow Flames, we're in trouble. I mean, we've got to just go for it as much as we hate it, so... We're going to go ahead and do that. I hope that's not a Doom Slayer, because that would be bad. Punch him down to 5. He might have a heal bot, but he's not a Reno list. He's just classic handlock. And we don't mind handlock, especially with the current board state. Brand could be cute if he's got a heal bot here. I mean, that puts him to, what, 21? Yeah. But even then, we don't care that much. He can't get past our taunt wall. We can Viscera into Faceless, or we can Corrupt her into Technician. So yeah, let's Corrupt her. Technician. Keep killing him, because he's got to break past our guys to do anything. Might as well draw a card since we have mana left over. Chillmaw. Chillmaw is another great card here. I don't think we're seeing a Mal'Ganis at this point. He hasn't had anything demony besides the other stuff. So it's just a non-Reno list, basically, I guess. Non-Reno lock. It's fine. I like what he's done with the list. He's just made a more consistent version using Bram plus Healbot as a, what, 8 mana play instead of a 6 mana play for nearly as much value as a Reno usually is.
Funnel cakes.
It's cute.
Get your funnel cakes here.
Yeah, so he's just trying to keep himself alive until he can play scary shit. I mostly approve, it's just that it's not getting anywhere. He's dirtling a little too hard. He's not doing too much to our board this turn. Right now we've got, what, 8, 11. Okay, he's got another Sun Fury. So that's 2 of our dudes being spent on punching past there. 6, 10. We don't have lethal this turn, but we do have... I think we just want Nefarian. No, we want Ysera. Power level's too high. And go ahead and punch through those 2 guys. Get in for a couple points of damage after cleaning up the board. And see what Ysera wants to give us. Nightmare. I mean, that's lethal next turn if he doesn't do something. which is likely to include a Shadow Flame at this point. But even then, we don't mind. Okay, Hellfire. That takes down most of what we've got. But it also damages him, so we don't completely hate it. Because he's closer to dead than he was. That's not a Taunted Watcher because he doesn't have the mana. We can Faceless our Ysera for value. Which I don't hate. Just because that extra trigger each turn is nuts. Just to clean up some in our hand, I don't hate dropping the Swamp Ooze. And we'll go ahead and kill that off real quick. If we have to next turn, we have Dream Shadow Flame shenanigans. We've also got Ysera Awakens now. We've also just got double fucking Nightmare, so if the dude don't taunt something, he's dead. Let's be real. I mean, Boom is cute, but we don't care. Because we've got double fucking Nightmare. So yeah, that is another dead person. And we'll keep queuing up. Paladin of some sort. The only question being whether it's some sort of weird aggro, some sort of Murloc, or secret. Murloc is kind of a pain for this deck to deal with, but, and for that matter, secret can't be. It just depends on what they get. I don't know why we threw back the Implosion. Probably because we weren't paying enough attention. Okay, so we're not being punished for it by drawing bad cards. And we'll just run out this Chow because it's generally pretty strong against a Paladin. I mean, it gives them a hammer target in a few turns, but let's be real, that's fine. Alright, we're going to try and pop this. If we get down, it's not a get down. So we're going to draw a card.
Job done.
Next turn we have Technician. Excuse me. I mean, granted, this could be a Repentance.
Reporting for duty.
The fact that this could be a Repentance makes us kind of not want to run into it with a Technician. Okay, so it wasn't. It was Avenge. Which kind of just makes us want a Dark Bomb instead. Which is why we pop the Secret first if we can. The fact that we're up against Secret Paladin puts us in an awkward spot, potentially. Drawing a dragon here so we can get Guardian down would be nice. But right now we just gotta find a way to get... What the hell? I am not gonna lie to you. The fuck? Twilight Guardian. Generally pretty good against, you know, 3 toughness Wind Fury dudes. Now if he has Blessing of Kings, we're going to suffer. But if he has Blessing of Kings, then frankly we're glad to have something in the way. Until we can hopefully do a thing. Although the thing we're going to have to do is going to be Hoovian in nature if he goes Blessing of Kings on that fucker. Because we like being alive. I guess he's just going for a badass token strategy, running some Inspire dudes alongside it, which has the potential to be a complete pain in the ass for a slow deck like mine. We have to somehow keep the entire board clean the entire game, which is not our favorite task. I keep wondering if I should run a Doomsayer in this deck. Then I keep remembering that I actually hate Doomsayer.
Mount up!
I must move quickly.
Okay, that's not terrible for us. Unless he has that, in which case he punches through. Our Guardian without losing his Wind Fury guy, which is bad. So we might just be dead, which is vaguely horrifying. But we've got to draw cards here and hope we're not just dead. I mean, we could be taking as much as 17 this turn. Maybe more, if there's a line I'm not thinking of because my brain is half turned off because of all the allergy crap. As evidenced by that pro-fucking mulligan implosion. Okay. So that means we're not getting beaten down by Inspire this turn. Still good. Especially since he beat the hell out of that thing to do it. We've now got a reasonable Hellfire play. Then we want to draw a card. Next turn, we're hopefully alive enough to do a thing, an impressive thing. If all this sniffling gets much worse, I'm about to have to just end the stream early, though.
Reporting for duty.
I don't love the whole sniffing all over the stream thing I'm doing right now. Alright, so Heal Butt gives us some options, which means we're most certainly going to Tharisian, Coil. That pretty much forces him to trade his board state into mine this turn, because he cannot afford to leave Tharisian alive. Something about not wanting to lose horribly.
Not on my watch.
Or he could Divine Shield that thing in the process of killing Tharisian, but that's also fine. Okay, he could also turn multiple cards into killing Tharisian cleanly. In a way that kind of sucks for me. The good news is, I have options for Shredder Shadow Flame, which is looking like a great line of play. So we're going to do that. Shredder Shadow Flame, see what we get. Tiny Knight of Evil, sure, we'll take it. It's a dude, it's not like we're discarding any cards, but whatever. Next turn, we're probably going to be dropping Healbot, just to make sure we don't die out of nowhere. Gotta keep the board clean. I'm just glad that wasn't Wrathguard. Holy shit, that card is a pain in the ass. Okay, so next turn, we are converting our entire everything in hand into not dying to this guy. Thankfully, he's finally popping us champion. And the only question is, I think we corrupt her and trade off our Tiny Knight.
I wield the power.
And we heal a lot. Now we're reasonably in the game. We've got 8 power, he's got an empty board. We've got a giant that we can drop next turn. Worst case. Realistically, we're probably dropping Boom.
Not on my watch.
Sure. Divine Shield the hell out of that little 1/1. And he's going to draw some cards. That's a problem. Except for the part where we don't care because his cards suck and ours don't. At least as far as we've seen so far. What? Okay. Let's either get down or competitive spirit. Given the implosion we just hit. Avenge, got it. Makes us very glad that we don't care about giving him a card. especially since we can boom with imps on board and give the turn back with a board that he really doesn't want to deal with. I mean, we could eat a consecrate here, but then either his board is getting cleaned up by boom bots. Okay. He doesn't have a way to give that charge, so we don't care. We're just going to have to kill it. I don't know why he even ran it out there. Like, it's having no impact. So that's probably redemption.
Reporting for duty.
None may steal our secrets.
Okay.
That was a mistake.
So he's motivating us to do a thing. The thing he's motivating us to do is, for starters, let's go ahead and siphon this off, since we assume it's redemption. It's not redemption. Are we dealing with get down? Let's see. Silence this. Punch here. Get down. That's fine.
Get down!
Thankfully, we got lucky off that. Run our other boombot in here. Punch a few times, draw a card. We've got a faceless now. I mean, this game is probably just over. We've got lethal on board, so he has to do something. That's a something. It's got to go to the dome to live. Leper Gnome does not particularly interest us right now. Although a 5-attack Divine Shield Leper Gnome interests us right now. We can just trade a couple of imps into it. We don't mind just trading dudes into that. This game is over. Draw a card. We Reno.
Gonna be rich.
Our opponent scoops.
Job's done.
Our opponent is at 5.
The victory
Yeah.
is his.
And that's another one for today. But thanks to the sniffles, I am just going to go ahead and call it a little bit early. I hope any viewers have enjoyed today, and yeah, catch us next time we stream, which will pretty much certainly not be over the weekend. It'll probably be next week again. But yeah, y'all have a great day.